More than that, more than that.
Welcome to More Than a Dad podcast. I'm your host, Lou Mobley. I'm joined by the coolest guy on earth, Dre Moore.
That's good, y'all.
And we got a real special guest, somebody from the past, somebody I went to high school with, out
Yes,
here
sir.
doing big things in real estate, daycare centers,
Yeah,
traveling the world. I got Talbert in the building. How you doing, bro?
I'm good, brother. Thanks for having me, by the way.
Appreciate you for coming.
Of course.
Man, a lot has changed since Newman Goretti days, man.
Yes, it did.
Everybody hit that level up button, man. It's a blessing to see people I went to school with doing so well in life, man. Just want to let you know I'm proud of you.
I appreciate that. Same to you, too, bro. Like, I'm proud of you, man. This is a great movement.
No, thank you so much, man. We start off the show with a fast 5 questions, real rapid, just to get to know you better.
Okay.
Just to give little icebreakers. Favorite high school memory at Newman Goretti?
I got so many. It's probably a sports memory, though. When we played, was it Roman? No, it was St. Joe's Prep. And when DJ hit that shot at the end of the game up at LaSalle, it went crazy in there. Like all the cops in the city came up. They was throwing cowbells down at us when we was down on the court. It was crazy. I ain't gonna lie. I've been to a lot of games, professional and all.
Is that the Roman shot or the?
That's the Roman shot.
It
was the Roman shot. Yeah, I was about to say when DJ hit it, it was Roman, right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yes, that was like one of the best games I've ever been to.
No.
Like, it's crazy.
As a kid growing up, were you a Disney kid or a Nickelodeon kid?
As a kid, I was a Nickelodeon kid, for sure.
Jay-Z or Nas?
Jay-Z.
What hobbies have you acquired being a dad, like that you didn't expect that you would acquire?
Going to the playground a lot. I ain't expect to be doing that. I'll tell you that. But I mean, I just spend a lot of time with my boys, honestly. I got 3 boys, so like I try to do as much as possible with them. So when you talk hobbies, we do everything, bro. Like, we go outside, we play catch. My block is very communal, so like we got courts on the block. We all the kids be outside. I be playing with them. I'm like one of the kids on the block, for real. When I come home from work, they be like, "Yo, Mr. Talbert, you want 1v1 me?" I be like, "Yo, they think I'm one of them." Like, but yeah, so I mean, it's a lot. I do a lot with my boys. I ain't gonna lie.
No, I love your wedding pictures and stuff, but I just want to ask you this because I know you married.
Yes.
What's one of your go-to date night spots?
Probably this place called La Roca in Manayunk. That's me and my lady's spot. We go there all the time. Get the watermelon margarita. Slit.
All right, man. Our signature question, man, just to keep it going. How's dad life?
Dad life is great, bro. Honestly, I had stepkids before I actually had my own kid, and that was amazing. Honestly, I treat all of them the same. When I met my lady, I never thought like I would even be with somebody with kids, to be honest with you. And I met her, she had 3 of them. But like, I messed with her so much, bro. Like, that didn't even mean nothing. And like, just coming into it, like my Nolan, he's 6 now, but when I met him, he was 1. So like, he was the baby before the baby.
Right.
So everything I do with my kid now, like with TJ, the youngest, I did all of that with him. So like, I mean, I love it. It kind of gave me a reason, a more of a reason to go hard and like you said, like kind of level up and, you know what I mean, start doing things differently and take things serious. Because I was playing for a long time.
The player's gonna play, bro.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So like, was it hard? Like, you said she had 3 kids already.
Mm-hmm.
Was it hard, like, getting the kids to like warm up to you?
Kinda, sorta. Honestly, that was a lot of the reason why I loved her, because she was like a great mom, and like the way she treated her relationship with her kids, she made like their relationship made it easy for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, she she's just very involved, and that attracted me to her. Like, one thing that was tough for me, it wasn't necessarily like getting the kids to warm up, because like, all right, for instance, when Nolan, he's 6 now, he was 1. When I met him, my first time meeting him, we was in the car. He was in the back seat, so like he was real quiet. He was like turning his head and like kind of peeking to the side, like looking at me. He didn't know what to say. He was a kid. He didn't know what to think. And I turned around, I said, "What's up?" He ain't say nothing. And what I did, like me personally, I grabbed his foot. Like, I kind of squeezed it, and he started smiling. And like, ever since then, like, he was warmed up to me. It was crazy. Like, but I'm gonna say that the toughest person to kind of get warmed up to was my daughter. Cause she was older.
Right.
When I met her, she was 10, so she kind of knew like what was going on. So like, I wouldn't say it was hard for her. It was more so hard for me, because I didn't know how to approach the situation as like kind of like being like that guy that's in the house, like other than like her father. You get what I'm saying? Like, so I think that was the toughest thing for me. But I mean, it worked out smooth, honestly. It really did. It like kind of gelled together. It kind of felt right.
We've talked before. I think we kind of bonded over this, because I don't know. I guess it's more common than I think that like some dads are introduced to fatherhood through step parent.
Yeah,
being a stepdad first.
We did speak about that.
Yeah, and I think we kind of bond about it. Did you have like a stigma about you, like I don't really know if I want to date somebody with kids? Because I had that all over me.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. It was just I never have, honestly, and it was just like, I was scared, like, what my mom would think or what people gonna be saying and stuff like that. That was like kind of before I met her. When I met her, none of that meant anything. Like, that's why I knew that I wanted to be with her, because I was like, like, if I'm this attracted to you and I want to be with you and you got kids, I never dated nobody with kids, like, you gotta be for me. And like, we took that next step, and it was everything. Honestly, she ended up being my wife, so I appreciate it, man. Like, and we all got a really close bond. Like, I kind of like wanted to kind of gel in and keep it that way. Like how they were, I kind of just wanted to be like that extra glue to keep everything together. And I mean, we here,
It's fire.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
So what was it like having your first biological kid?
It was amazing. I thought I knew what fatherhood was until I had my first kid. People always told me, like, when you have a kid, like, it's the greatest thing ever. And I was like, yeah, like, I kind of like looked over it, because I didn't know, like, there's a lot of things that I'm aware of now that I wasn't aware of back then, even just for having kids. But when my kid came out of my wife, like, it was amazing. Like, it literally was like one of the best feelings ever, like watching him, and like the first person he saw was me, and it was just great, like, to hold him and know that that's me, like, that's Lil Talbert. He named after me and everything. So it's definitely different.
Yeah, it's definitely a different experience.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't even know if I ever told you this. I probably never even told you this, Lou. So like, leading up into like my oldest son being born, I'm 19, I never had a kid. So like, in my head, it was like, you hear like it's gruesome. And all this, right? So, like, I was trying to like prepare myself by like watching like videos of like kids being born. What? But I couldn't like stomach them. It was all like, man, this is like some of the nastiest stuff I ever seen, because like in my head, I'm like, man, I don't want it to happen. I like pass out or something.
You to me, just to make y'all laugh real quick, bro. Like, when you think of like a woman's body parts, you don't equate to a baby coming out.
Yo,
of, right?
I respected her so much more when it happened. I was like, I can't believe you did that.
Yo, I couldn't get through like none of the vids, so I'm just like, in my head, I couldn't get through none of the videos. So in my head, I'm like, I'm not even gonna be able to sit in there when she had a baby. Like, but like, she ended up like being in labor for like 20 some hours. Like, she was in labor for a long, like, she went into labor like 4 a.m, and like he wasn't born until like 11:30 at night.
Wow.
Like, she was in labor for a long time. So like, all the anxiety at that point was just like, man, he finally about to come. Like, I'm in here. And I watched it happen, but it was different because it's like, I'm like, yo, I could have never watched this like on TV or nothing. Like, but like, because it was mine.
Because it was yours. Because it was there.
Right, and I was there, was like, all right, I could do this. Like, I got it.
Bro, when my daughter was born, it was like a third person experience, bro. I felt like a video game. It was like a camera behind me. Like, I was like numb and like kind of lost control, like of like I was so removed. I was so trying to like focus on her being good. Like, you good, babe? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Giving her like I'm sturdy, so you could be sturdy.
Right.
I didn't want to go in there and be weak, and it's like the whole thing.
Right. They need you.
Yo.
Right. So, yeah, but like I remember, I was, Dean just had this baby, right? And we were just talking. I was like, I remember when Osa's head like popped out. It was just like head and neck. I'm like, yo, and it was crazy. Like, yo, you not about to fit shoulders sideways out this jaw. Like
Yeah, they just like tuck it. They like tuck you over, like bend, like it's crazy.
It's wild.
Look, the doctor was doing something. Me and Dean was just talking about it. I was like, yeah, the doctor was like, when the baby head crown, he could feel by the plates and the skull coming together, which way the baby is facing.
Right.
So like that's why you see them like
Right,
move
like,
the baby and
yeah.
stuff. Bro, this is like genius stuff, bro. Like this is like next level. The baby ain't in prime position. It's kind of cocked, this way to this and this. And
that's a
bro,
fact.
they are real like superheroes, bro.
It's a lot that go into it.
You cried?
What was that?
You cried?
Absolutely.
All right.
You
Yeah.
cried like right then?
No. I shed a tear like when we left, cause he had to go down to the NICU for like that. We didn't know how long he was gonna be there. He ended up coming right to the room, but yeah, I definitely shed a tear when I walked out of there because it was my kid. Like it was crazy. Like, and then I ain't gonna lie, like I said, I respected my wife so much more. It was just like, yo, like I can't believe you did that, and like with my damn.
Your wife a pro though. With that,
Yeah,
that was number 4.
for sure, for number 4.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's a pro, bro.
yeah, we went in and out, like,
bro. When my wife went in there, I was like, yo, you just an Olympian. Like, my wife tall, like she
Right.
just like 1-2 pushes, baby be out. I'm like, man, you was like made to do this. You was like made to do this. Long torso, long limbs. Like you was like made to do this.
That's crazy.
Oh yeah, I forgot to shout out in the beginning. We normally shout out the area. Jacksonville, Florida. We want to acknowledge y'all. We see y'all in the downloads, all the listens per week, man.
We appreciate it.
We appreciate it. Talking about your wife, we want to talk about married life, man. How's married life, bro?
It's great. It's tough, man. Because I feel like a lot of people say like, oh, why get married? Like it's gonna be the same, and all like it is the same, but it's not the same because like when you get married, you kind of you gelling everything together. Like now y'all literally one, like legally, all of that. Like a lot of people say is a business, which I kind of get that aspect of it too. But like your obligation just goes up tremendously, and like having a kid, like it make you want to go harder. Like it was kind of more of a motivation for me to like right now I'm in the process of I'm trying to start some different things and. I ain't really gonna talk about it just because I don't want to jinx it, but it make you want to go harder, man. It just make you want to like really go hard for your family even more, like just because like y'all got my last name, this is mine, this is like you just look at it differently, and even like the lady looks at it differently. There's a lot of pressure kind of sometimes, but as long as you got that communication, that's key. Like and right now, like even we still work through those things, but we are getting much better at it. And honestly, it make me happy, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I was ready for it when it happened. Like a lot of people like, you ready? I was like, yeah, I'm ready. Like I did it all already. So it was like, I was cool with it.
No, that you sound like me trying to convince this dude.
Yeah.
I was telling him like, like being a dad, like I was prepared. I was already, like I work with kids. I done raised my cousins and nieces and, I always been like big bro vibe. You know what I mean? So like that, I had older parents. I had old soul. I was more responsible than my peers. Mm-hmm. So when I was ready to commit to
I was completely opposite. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah, but that was that. And I grew up in a married household, so like I already knew that was the end game. And and once I started to, that's how I knew like she was the one. Like none of that stuff bothered me. Like I was like locked in. Like I was ready to do the serious stuff. Like I was ready to do like so like where we gonna live, where we gonna buy. Like I was like you say like. It all came together. I wanted to keep it together. Yeah. Like if we gonna form this, I want to be the thing to keep it together. And that's kind of how I knew. Cause like prior to that, man, relationship get a little stupid. I walk away. I'm too good for this. I'm a catch. I got this degree, that degree. I think the world of myself, right? You know what I mean? So it's like, and I finally found somebody that like even when it got hard, like man, let me walk back in here and fix this. Let me go ahead and say sorry, man. Like you know what I mean?
That's marriage, bro. Yeah. Right there. Like you just spoke it.
super married, bro.
So you in the real estate. How did you get into real estate?
Well, honestly, I've been around real estate my whole life. My dad was a contractor. My goddad was a contractor. like somebody that I kind of looked at as like a father figure was a contractor. So I always been around it. Honestly, I probably should have been building. I do know how to build. It's like my secret talent. I don't really talk about it, but I do it when I need to. But I kind of wanted to like do real estate and kind of take it to I didn't want to be a builder. I didn't want to do what I was used to. And I had a really good friend who was a realtor, and he was doing well. God rest his soul. He passed the year I became a realtor.
Wow.
It's crazy. He was mentoring me for a while, like a good year. And I used to go to his closings and open houses. Like literally, I was like following his footsteps just because I kind of wanted to like form my career. And I felt like he was the perfect person to model it after. I went to school for nursing. So I actually was about to go to nursing school. Like I was like, I got accepted, all of that. And I ended up not even going. Like I changed my major. I was like, I'm doing real estate. My mom to this day be like you crazy. I sent you to school all this time and you didn't do that. I went to school in Maryland, all of that. And I ended up changing my major. But it was the best thing I could have did. At a point, I just felt like I didn't want to be clocking in. All my friends that worked at a hospital, they were miserable. Not miserable, but they just didn't. They weren't happy. And I didn't feel like that was going to make me happy. So real estate is my passion. So when I started doing that, I just felt good. It felt really good. And I just pursued it. And I just went in. It's not an easy career at all. You definitely got to put that work in, especially starting off. And it took some time, but I mean, it definitely panned out.
Yeah, we're gonna talk a little bit about the process. So, like, let's talk about like how did you actually become a realtor?
I had to go to school. So I went to Temple Real Estate. I actually went to the classes. A lot of people like do it online. I'm not good with online classes. I like to ask questions and really understand things, and that's really what it's all about, understanding. They try to make sure you really understand real estate because you have a fiduciary responsibility to a lot of different people. So you got to understand that, like, in order to efficiently do your job. And when I say that, it's like, let's say like you my client, right? And Lou is on the other side of the deal, and he might ask me a question that might compromise with you, something that you said to me, or like it's a certain guideline. It's certain stuff I can't say to you about what you said, or like, cause you're my client, so I owe you that. And it's good to understand like the difference. Like you got to know where that line is, like where you can't cross that line. I can't go and say, oh, my buyer has this amount of money, he can do this, and we're willing. Like I can't do that. I only can do what you allow me, like what you say, like, yo, tell him this is what I want to do. Like I can't go and like say like, oh, my client, he don't really want to buy that property because like when we went in there, he ain't really like the way this looked, or like, you know, if you didn't say that, you know what I'm saying? Like if that's something that me and you spoke about, it ain't necessarily something that I can tell the other person. Right. You know what I mean? Unless you say like, tell him that I said, like, it's just a lot of those kind of things. There's like a lot of like fine lines that you got to understand. So that's one. And then two, I mean, it's just like, me personally, I love the game, and I love to like work with people and make sure I'm helping them accomplish their goals. So like I said, to go back to the school part, they want you to understand what's going on. So that's why I went to the class and I was able to ask questions, and I actually graduated that class like top 3. Because like I was like super focused, like I was just on top of it, and I really wanted it. But school has nothing to do with actually being a realtor. Once you like get into the office, it's a whole nother game. Literally, when I signed with my office, they told me like, whatever you learned in school, forget about it. It's about to be something completely different when you hit the field. Because in school, they just want to make sure you understand real estate and how to be a realtor, but they don't teach you about all the documents you got to like proofread and make sure you understand what this means and that means. And like, it's so many documents you got to study and know and learn. It's just a lot. Like you gotta really like lock in to be successful.
Did you find like the exam hard? Like, was it?
Yeah. I felt, so it's 2 parts to the exam. It's a state and there's a federal. I passed the federal, which everybody say is like the harder part, and I failed the state. So I failed the state twice before I ended up passing it. And it's crazy. I used to be like super studying, and I failed it. Super study, fell. And then like one day I was like, man, I'm just gonna go take it, and I went and took it and passed. But it definitely took me like 4 tries to like complete like both tests, like to pass it. They don't like once you pass, you don't got to take it again. You just got to take the other half that you failed, but you still got to pay every time you take the test. And so it's like $60, like to take the test.
Right.
You had spoke like kind of briefly like about mentors a little bit. Like how important was that to have like a mentor?
It was super important. I chose my office. A lot of people think like you go to offices and they're choosing you. No, you choose them. So like I interview offices. I like made time out to like go to Elfont, Wissahickon, and Kellaway. I went everywhere just to make sure it was the perfect fit for me. And you kind of ask them like, my biggest question was like, what do you offer new agents? What's your training? Like, you know, like what are the guidelines? What do I got to pay? What do I got to do? But I want to make sure I understand what I'm doing before I pick up a client and, you know, I'm lost. So I joined Keller Williams because they had a mentor program. Okay. And I had a coach. Her name was Stacy. I'll never forget her because she literally helped my career. Like she was the best. I ain't gonna lie. Without her, I don't know if I would like even kept doing real estate. A lot of people start and then drop out, or they'll like become a realtor and never do any work. Honestly, they say only 3% of, I think it's like 50,000 agents in Philadelphia. Only 3% are actually producing, actually doing things with their license. A lot of people have a license and they not selling. They don't go on any showings because it's a grind. You gotta really lock in. You gotta promote yourself. Like I've done cold calls. Like my mentor, she's the reason why, because I'll go and I took time out every morning, 5 days a week. I'll go to the office. I'll be there for like, I'm gonna say 3 to 5 hours with her, and I'll be cold calling. I hit my whole Facebook contact, everybody. I mean, I message every one of my friends. I probably got like 2,500 friends. I'm new to real estate. If you need like any like real estate like advice, or like if you need anything, like just contact me. You know, just trying to get your name out there is tough, and it takes a certain kind of person to like put yourself out there like that, because a lot of people, like, you know, they get shy and it's like kind of like, I don't want to text all of them, and I knew him back, I don't want to say that to them, but I kind of had to get over that fear.
Right.
So you just got to get yourself out there.
I feel like we go through that now. Like, yo, can you subscribe? Can you check this out?
Exactly.
It's the same thing. Like, hey, we do this now. Check this out. You know what I mean? I identify with that a lot. So, all right. So back to the real estate thing. You know, I want to get two sides of the coin. So, like, what's been the most rewarding part about it?
Okay.
And what's been like the kind of like the most annoying part about it?
I'm not gonna lie. Like every deal is different. It's always something that's kind of gonna be a little weird or wrong. Like I'm gonna say the best thing about it is that I get to solve problems. Right.
Okay.
And I think that's what draws me to it the most, because I see a problem. Somebody, like, for instance, I got a situation right now where like the lady might be losing the house to the bank. You know what I'm saying? And I have to find a solution for that. Like, so right now we're listed. She wasn't going to list our property, but like I convinced her. I was like, listen, you got to list this property. Like, we got to get you something in return. Like, we can't allow you to lose this property. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, and she really respected that. Like, and you end up forming like lifelong friends and people who always just reach out to you because like you care. And like you was like, yo, I'm gonna step in and I'm gonna help you out. It's not always about business. You gotta actually really love this and actually really want to help people reach their goals. Like, I got people who wanted to buy houses 2 years ago, and they're like, yo, I want to buy a house. And I'll be like, listen, I'm gonna help you get your credit right. I got this person you can call. You know what I mean? And you kind of guide them to get to the point for you to even be able to take them out. Like, you gotta, I love working with people and solving problems. I think that's another reason why I didn't want to settle for any career, because I always wanted to like use my brain and kind of figure it out sometimes. Like, every day is a new day. It's something different.
Right.
I think that's what I like the most about it. What do I like the least about real estate? Sometimes it could be a little taxing. Because you might run into like a lot of situations where like you might have a client and they just can't make a choice, and you just showing them hundreds and hundreds of houses, and they're not like, it's like they're trying to get a mansion for $200,000. If you're like, yo, we can't do it. Right. Like, this is what you got to get. Right. I'm trying to think. I don't really have a lot of dislikes, honestly, because I love it.
No, that's a good enough.
Like, I ain't gonna lie to you.
That's a good enough one. People having unrealistic expectations with their budget.
Yeah, yeah. That's pretty. That's probably one of the tougher things. About everything. I mean, I wouldn't say it is anything else I don't really like. Like, I like it. Even when it goes wrong, I like it.
True.
Sometimes, to be honest with you.
True that. Can you, for our listeners that don't know, can you explain the home buying process to them?
Absolutely. So the home buying process. Well, the first thing you got to do is make sure you have a pretty solid credit score. They say that you can go as low as 580, but you kind of want to be around 620. That's like ideal because you can get like good rates. You don't want to like just get a 580 and then your interest rate is a 10%. That's a lot. So sometimes it's worth it to just take that year, that 2 years out, get your credit right, get your savings right, and then you can get your pre-approval, which you need. You need your pre-approval to even go look at properties. I mean, you can go look at properties, but most realtors aren't going to take you out if you don't have a pre-approval. Right. So usually they want you to have a 620. You want to have some savings. You can do FHA loan or a conventional loan. It really depends on what works best for you. A lot of people say like FHA because it's 3.5% down, but they also have conventional loans that you can put 3% down on, or you can put 5% or 4%. It really depends on just your situation. They look at your situation, the money you have, your debt to loan income, like your debt to loan ratio, and debt to income ratio. My apologies, and they'll just kind of like look at your situation and see what's best for you. I had people who I told them like, yo, yeah, we can get an FHA loan. And the lender's like, I think a conventional loan is best. And this is the reason why. So you want to get your pre-approval. Once you get your pre-approval, you're going to go out with a realtor, check out your houses, things like that. And then that's when you find your property you want to put your offer in. Once you put your offer in, then that's a whole nother set of steps. Because once you're under contract, you're like you're responsible to that contract. So however it was filled out, however it was, once it's completed, you're bound to that. So if you said you're going to do an inspection in the first 10 days, which is standard, you like once you put your offer in, you want to do an inspection for the first 10 days to make sure the property is like running functionally like correct, and like nothing's wrong. So you'll have somebody go in, check the roof, make sure like the water's getting hot, making sure all like the main appliances are working properly and things like that, like making sure the property is okay for somebody to live in. And once that happens and you get your inspection report, that's when you can decide whether you want to keep that property, like whether you want to move forward or you can back out. You have a couple chances where you can back out the deal, and that's one of those like times. The next time is your appraisal. So once the appraiser comes, once you get past that inspection period, once you say like, hey, I'm good with the condition that the property's in, or hey, I need you to fix this, that, and that, or we can't move on. Like it's a negotiation period. But once you get past that is the appraisal period. And you're also during that time in between that span, you're waiting for your mortgage approval, because your mortgage approval and your pre-approval are different. Once you get your mortgage approval, that's when you know you definitely got these funds to get the crib. So it goes through underwriting, and they'll send like the appraiser out, and the appraiser and make sure the property is at market value. Make sure you're buying the property for what it's worth. Some people luck up and they have built-in equity as soon as they buy the property, because the property was worth less than what they bought it for, or something like that. So like it really depends. Like, but that's another place where you can kind of back out of the deal, like with the appraisal. And then once you get past that, I mean, it's kind of smooth selling until something goes wrong. So sometimes it might be mortgage documents. Sometimes the seller might not have fixed something that you asked them to fix. And so y'all going back and forth about that. You might want to, if he didn't fix it, he might say, hey, I'll just give you money towards closing costs. Every situation is really different, but the standard process is making sure you have a 620 credit score, making sure you have some savings.
What's ideal for that?
For your savings?
Yeah. Just ballpark. You don't gotta
It depends. All right, so like I'm gonna say 10,000. I think 10,000 is a safe place to be. You can get a property with 5,000. I've took my buyers to the closer and they only had to come out their pocket 500. It depends on how your offer and like the contract, how it's structured. I might put in an offer and I might ask you for $10,000 towards closing costs, like with my offer. And if you accept that, that lowers the amount that the buyer is going to need for closing. You know what I'm saying? So they might have had 10,000, but if you giving them 10,000 towards closing costs and the closing cost is 7,000, you know what it's just like sometimes people get money back at closing. It's situational, and it depends. It depends on the property. Like right now, I have a listing right now in Germantown. We're listed at like close to 300,000. We're at 295,000, but we're offering a $10,000 assist to whoever sends us a full price offer.
So technically, it would be 285.
285 technically. That's what. But like it's going to sell for 295, but. Like that's going to be the number, but whatever your closing cost, $10,000 is going to come off because it's going to come out of the seller's profits.
Right.
Yeah.
No, talk a little bit about, you kind of hitting on with the FHA and stuff. Like, can you run us through like some of the finance options for a mortgage? Like,
as far as
like the differences,
differences, like you said, conventional FHA. Is it more variations?
Absolutely. You have VA loans. That's for veterans. That's or like, close like family members to veterans. I'm sorry.
Is that like zero? That's zero down too, right?
Yeah. Sometimes it's 3.5%. It depends on the company, honestly. And then you, like I said, you got the FHA loans. FHA loans are 3.5%. Conventional loans can go anywhere from 3% to 20% down. Like I said, it's always situational. You got cash financing. A lot of people just buy the property in cash. Like if it's an investor property, not technically cash, but like they got the funds to literally just wire over. And those are the deals that close fast. They close in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, just as long as the title is right.
How long does it take for like a normal deal to close?
30 to 45 days. Okay. Yeah, if you have a 30-day closing, that's like awesome. That's ideal. But you like sometimes you'll schedule it 30 days out. And it's always like you got to have an extension for 5 days or 10 days because there's always something different happening. Like I said, it's always situational. So like something might come back on title that somebody got to take care of, or like it's just always something. Honestly,
random question because now I really feel like you're teaching us.
Yeah,
like you know how people be talking about like sheriff sales and stuff, and they be like, hey, it might be a property that's not in good standing. Like, what does that mean? Like, does that mean like what does a lien on a property mean?
A lien on a property is pretty much like a judgment or a lien. So a mortgage is a lien on your property. Like you owe that.
Right.
Your taxes are a lien on your property. If you don't pay your taxes, it's a lien. Your property can be taken away from you if you don't pay your taxes. Right. Like that's pretty much what a lien is. Then you got judgments. Like that's like pretty much saying like you had a water bill or something like that, like, and all of these things, like, they go against you if you're not paying it. So it's like you got to pay this all before you sell the property, or it's going to be a judgment or a lien on your property. Like, you don't want judgments and liens on your property. The only lien you want is tax and mortgage, and you should be paying them.
Right.
Honestly, or it's a chance that your property can be taken away from you. And there's different kinds of auctions. You got tax, you got foreclosed homes. Those are different auctions. And they have them at different times of the month, and they have them in every county. So like all the counties are different. If you want to do an auction in Delaware County in Yaton, you gotta go to Delaware County's sheriff's sales. But like I said, like with that listing earlier, when I was like the lady might get foreclosed on, it's because that like if she doesn't pay that, if she doesn't sell the property and pay that mortgage lien, or because it's overdue, she got the property passed down to her, and her mom had like some kind of balloon loan, which like the balloon loan, like you like pay a certain amount and then at the end you pay the whole balance. Like you'll pay a certain amount for like 10 years and then on the 11th year you gotta pay the whole balance, and if you don't pay the whole balance, your property gets taken away from you.
Yo.
Yeah, they got so many ways that they can set it up. Like sometimes the banks are always going to protect themselves. Right. So like you just got to make sure you stay on top of your finances. Honestly,
that kind of remind me of I had an aunt that had like I think it's called a reverse mortgage.
Yup.
That like you pay it off and then the property actually goes back to the bank.
See, the reverse mortgage is just set up for the bank to take your property.
Yeah,
that's it.
They tried it with my dad.
They give you that, like, it's set up.
You don't gotta pay it. You don't
gotta pay it all.
You don't gotta pay it, and then once you like move or die or something, then the bank just automatically.
Yeah, it's a wrap. It's over.
You just renting.
Yeah, literally, like they own. Once you get a reverse mortgage, it's over.
Yeah,
like they taking the property. Like, hope the best you can do is sell it, like in like a short sale or something like that, and give them their money back and try to make something off of it. Yeah. That's the only way you can kind of get out of those situations. Because a lot of the times, like somebody that's getting the property taken from them with a reverse mortgage, the property got passed down to them because the person died, and that's why they trying to take the property back. Like, it's crazy. It's a lot of ways that they set it up that they'll take the property if you're not paying your mortgage.
All right, can you explain the current state of the housing market? Because
up and down, man. It's really up and down. Honestly, it's a little tough right now because like the interest rates are high. Honestly, we kind of like in somewhat of a recession with COVID, and like we trying to get back. That's the U.S. We trying to get back to the whole society period. So interest rates are high.
When you say that, just preface us. What's considered like a good interest rate and what's considered high?
I'm gonna say a good interest rate is anywhere from like 3 to 5%.
So what's high right now? So what is it now?
High is 8%, 9%, 7.5, 7.2. Like everybody still gets a different interest rate based on your credentials. So it's based on your debt to income ratio. That's so big. I don't think people understand how big that is when it comes to like your payments and like the mortgage that you get, and like that has a lot to do with how much you can afford.
Right.
Like, like you might want a house that's $250, but like you can't have a ton of debt. You got to pay it down. That's why sometimes when you talk to a lender, they be like, you got to pay this, that, and that, and then I can maybe get you a pre-approval, or I can get you a pre-approval for the house that you're trying to get. Wow. So it's based on your credentials, but like your credit score means a lot. Your payments, how you pay your payments, all of that comes into play with your credit, and they look at that, and that's going to depend on what your interest rate is going to be. But right now, it's kind of lingering. It kind of did come down a bit, but it's kind of lingering around like that 5, 6, 7 kind of % right now. When not too long ago, it was 2.8. 3.4, 3.2, you know what I'm saying? But right. It kind of went up, so a lot of buyers are kind of backing out the market and waiting for it to correct. You know what I'm saying? So that like listings are sitting longer unless it's priced correctly. Pricing the property correctly is, I think that's probably one of my dislikes. I'm happy that we talking. That's one of my dislikes. I'm sorry not to go off topic.
You're good.
But sometimes I'll have a seller client. I work with a lot of sellers. And the toughest part is trying to come down to a number, like what we gonna sell this for, because everybody always thinks their property is worth more than what it is. Always, it's like, no, I'm not selling for that. I'm like, listen, this property sold for that property sold for this. Like all these properties near you are selling for this price, so you can't sell for 30 more thousand because your house ain't 30 more thousand better than these houses. You're comparing to the houses that are selling in the area.
Right.
And a lot of people look at the properties that are for sale. You can't compare it to the properties that are for sale because they didn't sell. You gotta compare it to the properties that sold. So if all the properties in your area, they the same size, even this property got better updates than your property do, and they sold for $250, what make you think you gonna sell your property for $280? You can't. You can't, because what people want to do is they're like, that property sold for $250, and then that's when they might look at the actives, the houses for sale, and there might be a property around the corner from you selling for $260, and that property is better than yours. Your property might be a little bigger, but this house is brand new. You've been living in this house for 30 years, and you might have did some renovations, but your house is not better than that one. And if they're selling for $260 and we're somewhat similar and they got better finishes, we can't sell for $280, and that becomes sometimes like, some people will take your advice and they'll listen to you and they'll be like, oh, like, you know what, you're right. But like some people will fight you and it gets tough. And I think that's one of my dislikes. I go at it with people about that.
Right.
You want to push your expertise on it.
Exactly, because it's not about selling for more. I'm not in this for selling for more just to get some money. Like, because at the end of the day, the more, and I tell people that if I sell your property for $300,000, I make more money. But like, I'm not in it for that right now. Like, we can't look at that. Like, I would love for your property for sale for $300,000. Right. But if the property is worth $250,000, we have to sell it for $250,000. Or we can maybe go up to $260,000 and see what we can get, and maybe try to get somebody at $255,000. Now we $5,000 over what you're asking for, or they might come down to $250,000 and we selling for what we really wanted to sell for. But like, overpricing the property is never good, and especially in the market right now, you have to price correctly. And honestly, it's better to undercut the price than to sell it for what it's worth, or try to sell it for more than what it's worth sometimes. Because you got to look at, and I tell all my sellers this, you have to look, and I tell my buyers this too, but you always have to look at the other side of it. Like, you have to look at this as a buyer. Like, even though you're selling the property, and I know you want to sell it for this price, but as a buyer is always looking for a discount. They're always looking for something that's nice at a good price. And like that's like if me and you, we go to the market, and like, let's say we see like two different kinds of cereal. You see the Trix, and you see like the ShopRite brand or something like that. And then like the ShopRite brand is selling for, let's say they selling for $3, and then the other one's selling for $5. You're probably going to go with the ShopRite brand just because it's pretty much the same. It's just a different name, and it's $2 cheaper. Right. Like, depending on your budget. Like, you got to look at things as a buyer. Like, a buyer is always going to, if your property is the same as that property, but they got better finishes, like, they're going to go with that property. Right. They're going to go see that first. That's the property they're going to put in for first. So sometimes you want to list a little lower, because then people feel like it's a deal. Like, if you want to, let's say we work $250,000 and we list at $235,000, I guarantee you it's going to be a bid. We're going to have 7 offers that week when people go see it. You want to know why? Because they feel like they're getting the property for cheaper than what it is.
And when they put,
know what I'm saying?
And when they put the bid in,
you're gonna get up to $250,000.
You're gonna end up getting $250,000 because you're gonna be like,
exactly, because you're gonna say, listen, I got multiple offers. We're gonna make a choice on Wednesday at 6 p.m. Send your best and highest offer, and people gonna be like, dang, yeah, that property is at a good price, man. Let's give them 10 more thousand. Let's give them $245,000. Let's give them $250,000. Let's give them $260,000 just to get that property. Some people egos get into it. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like, it's all these offers. I'm gonna beat these offers, and that's how you sell for more. You can't sell for more by overpricing. When you overprice, you play let's make a deal. That's when people like, let's get the property. Let's put an offer in for $240,000 if it's at $250,000. You know what I mean? Then you start playing let's make a deal, you don't get as much interest. You get more interest when people feel like they're getting a deal, and you want people to feel that way because you build up the anticipation. You kind of make it an auction rather than playing let's make a deal. You want people to bid on it, kind of. Right. You kind of want to look at it that way.
Dropping jewels.
Gems.
No, just talk. Let's just talk about like what makes a good realtor and what makes a bad realtor.
What makes a good realtor is just being prepared. Being prepared means everything, and I'm talking about like before you take somebody on a show and knowing what all of the properties are worth, doing your CMAs, making sure you know, like if they ask you when we in this property, what you think we should offer, you should know already. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't be like, oh wait, let me check my CMAs. Let me see what the area going for. You should already know that you kind of got to do that research before you go, like on your own, being prepared. That was like one of my first lessons. Like, you got to take advantage of your schedule. You got to wake up in the morning, drink your coffee, do your workout, whatever you need to do, but you got to get to the grind. You got to start seeing what the market is going for. If you know you got showings that day, you got to know the square footage of all these houses. You got to know when it was sold. You got to kind of just have your info already ready. When I have open houses, I have my laptop there. So when people get there, I show them. I engage. Like, listen, come swing a chair around here. I'm gonna show you what's going on around here. You kind of that's how you get referrals. That's how people feel comfortable with you, and they feel like you're there for them, and you're not just in it just to win. You know what I mean? You in it to help them. You in it to, like, it's not just for you. I look at this like we can all do it together. You know what I'm saying? Like, real estate is all about being a team. Like, and I'm talking about whether it's you with your client, you with the other vendors that you work with. I got a lot of good vendors that I work with, inspection companies, lenders that like I can call at the drop of a dime. Even if I don't need business at the moment, I might call them to ask them a question, and they always there. It's just being prepared, bro. Like, just being always on top of things. And it's not just with showings. It's just with everything. Just being ahead of the market, knowing what's going to happen soon, making sure you're engaging with the right people. So, like, you know, like, just like you always, the real estate is always changing. It's always different laws. You want to take class, like, we got to take classes every 2 years. And, like, because we got to, like, always renew our licenses. So we got to take classes every 2 years. But sometimes just taking those extra classes and like learning things that you might not even knew if you didn't take that class. Like, we all don't know everything. So we kind of like bounce off of each other. And if you're not bouncing off of each other, then you need to be out in the field and taking the classes yourself and like kind of really being an expert at what you do. Like, I think, and it all just comes into preparation, like just being ready. I think that's what makes a good realtor. What makes a bad realtor is bad communication. A lot of realtors, you call their phone, they never answer, or like is always text. I think communication is a big thing, and just pure laziness, man. Like, some people, they'll put a listing up and like they won't have a lockbox on the property, or you won't have like all the information that you need, and you can kind of see what realtors are bad and good just from looking at their listings, or not even just only looking at their listings, but like just kind of like when you call them and like for instance, I spoke to this lady the other day. She called me about my listing and I answered the phone, and I talked to this lady a couple times because she always kind of call in and inquire about the listing. And she was like, I just wanted to tell you, like, because her buyer ended up not putting an offer in. And they were just going to go another route because, like, we weren't going to accept what he was going to offer us. But, like, she was a really nice lady. And she was like, I just wanted to tell you, she's like, I really wanted to work with you. And I was like, I appreciate that. And I was like, if you don't mind me asking, I just wanted to know why. And she was like, because you just seem like you're a really good agent. She said, every time I call you, you answer immediately. She was like, and you're always like just very informational. You communicate well. Like you're on top. Whatever I ask you, you always there. If I send you an email, you email back. And like, it don't matter how, like, you can just tell. And she was like, and I really just wanted to go through a transaction with you, because she was like, my last transaction, she's like, the realtor never got back to me. She was like, we supposed to respond to an inspection within 5 days after we get the like so you get 10 days for an inspection report. Then you get your inspection done, you get your report back, and then you have to reply to the inspections. Like, the buyer agent has to say, like, we need this done, or we don't need anything done, or we need an assist, or like that's that negotiation period that I was telling you about. And you have 5 days to do that. And she said that after she got the inspection report, she ain't hear from the realtor in like 10 more days after that. That's like bad for business. Technically, they could have got out of that deal. You can send stuff to arbitration, keep they deposit. Like, she could have took it to somewhere else, but she didn't. She still went through with the deal, but she was like, it was just a horrible experience. Right. And like, sometimes that's the stuff that makes the deal like bad. That's another dislike.
Yeah. he got his qualms now.
Right. Yeah.
Go ahead, Dre.
So you own daycare?
Yes, sir.
What made you open a daycare?
Well, actually, the daycare was my wife's dream. When I met her, that was like her dream. She wanted to open a daycare. When I met her, she was working with foster kids. Well, she trained foster parents. So like, if you wanted to be a foster parent, you had to go through her for training. And she trained you how to have them in your house, what you need to have, what you need to do, all those kind of things. She trained everybody. So that's what she did. She worked close with like DHS, but she loved kids. She worked with kids her whole life. She like just very like maternal. She loves kids. That's her life. So it was kind of like, for a while, she was working, and like every day she came home, and I don't know if y'all deal with this, but she came home and talk about work. And right. Yo, bro, it's all, I ain't gonna lie to you, like, it's all, sometimes it'd be the same story. I'd be like, I know she came in late, I know she did that, I know, like, but I can tell that it was really weighing on her. Like, it was like kind of stressing her out being there. And she had everything she needed for a daycare when I met her. She just never went out and got a building. Like when we kind of met, we went out like, and I showed her a couple places, but it was kind of like a date. Kind of like for real.
Look at him. Look
But
how swaggy.
no, bro, it was kind of like a date and a showing. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Let me show you. Let me upgrade your lifestyle. I seen him working.
Yeah, but it got to a point where like, you know, I felt her struggle, and I was like, yo, let's go out and let's go get the building. And like, I felt like she was kind of nervous about it because it was like jumping in like, dang, you want to go get a building? I'm like, yeah, we gonna go look for buildings tomorrow. And like whatever we need, like I got you. Like I'm gonna help you. We gonna do this. We gonna do it together. And we treated it that way. Like so, we got our property. We started looking for properties, and we found a place. The lady, she was kind of skeptical about giving it to us because we never had a business. This was our first business. It's an Asian lady. Her name's Joy. She's awesome though. She's trying to give us a bunch of buildings now, but when we got the building, it was kind of like it was a nice space, but like, you know, we went into it blind. We didn't know everything that we needed. Like we kind of just wanted to get a space and, you know, make a small daycare. But then like, you know, once you open a business, you got to go through inspection after inspection after inspection, whether it's city or L&I, the state comes out. Then they got a child care inspection. It's so much you got to do. A fire inspection. Like a lot of stuff you got to pay for all of these things. All this stuff takes time. Like, there's a lot that goes into it. And, like, mind you, like, we got kids. Like, I was working at the restaurant. Like, she was working her job. I'm doing real estate, too. Like, it was just a lot. But I was like, we going to get this done. So we got the property. We found out that we needed the basement space from one of our inspections. They was like, well, y'all need a playroom. Or y'all need, like, an outdoor space. We didn't have that. So the basement was unfinished. And we was going to pay somebody to do it, but, like, funds was tight. And I was like, I told y'all I got a secret talent. I do work myself. I was like, I'm going to finish it. And she was like, you going to do all that by yourself? I was like, yeah, I'm going to just get my brother to help. We going to do it. Like, it was unfinished, wet down there, everything. Bro, we went down there. I redid the whole basement. I made it a playroom. Like, literally, we had to, like, it was so much stuff down here. We had to get rid of all the rubbish. But I put a new floor down. I framed it, sheetrock, everything, repainted it. I had my dad do all the electric down there. Like, we made the playroom. And, like, we made the space what it needed to be. We were improving somebody else's space, but we needed that for us to, you know, for us to get off the ground. So, and I felt like that was good because the landlord looked at us in a way like, dang, like y'all improved my space. Y'all like, I'm glad I gave y'all that chance. And we opened up during COVID. It was 2020 when we opened. So like, we just came off being like stuck in the house. And we had our grand opening. It was a little tough at first. We wasn't getting like a lot of kids because like everybody ain't had the money at that time. People wasn't working, stuff like that. But we toughed it out. We paid that rent every month, and now we full. Like, now we got a wait list, and we actually about to open a second location in Germantown.
That's fine.
Yeah, and it's actually double the size of the one that we have, and we have an outside play space at this one.
You ain't got to redo a basement?
I did redo it, actually.
Oh.
It was a doctor's office before. So, like, when you walk in, it was like, you know, like the glass, like with a reception desk and all that. It was a couple rooms, and then you go through, it was another couple rooms. I knocked it all out. I posted it on Instagram. I knocked it all out, and I made it 2 big rooms, me and my brother. I did my first drop ceiling. I just did this a couple months ago. Yeah, but I redid that whole space, too.
You the man, bro.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I redid it.
I want to get into one last thing before we get out of here because you've been blessing us crazy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Travel.
Yeah.
You travel bull to me, man.
Absolutely.
Talk about
We big on that.
why isn't it important to travel in like some of the some of the places you've been?
Well, one, we travel a lot because, like I said, like we're busy, man. We got and we got the kids, and we're always grinding. Like I go to bed sometimes at 12, and I'm up at 6. I'm up at 6 like every day.
Me too.
Probably sometimes earlier than that, like especially during like school year. So like that's our break. We don't we do take our look, like I said, we go to La Roca and Manny Young a lot and stuff like that. But that's like our outlet, like to go on vacation. It's like, yo, let's be out. That's how we spend our money. Like we gonna be out. Like let's experience the world. Like I already was a traveler when I met her, and she was a traveler too. So like we just came together and we just start being out. And once we finally start leaving the country, we've been to Mexico like 3 times, 4 times. And we was like, yo, you know what? Like, let's start really experiencing the world. So when we got married in North Carolina. And we did our honeymoon in Jamaica, and then like we just came back from Greece. So that was amazing. And we actually just now booked Ibiza in Barcelona, and our trip after that we're gonna do. I'm probably gonna do it for my birthday. I'm gonna do Amsterdam. We gonna do London again because I wasn't there long enough, and we gonna do Paris. But I just wanna, yeah, I wanna explore the world, bro. So like I just feel like none of us know our life expectancy, bro. And like when I met her, I used to always be like, let's wait, let's grind, let's save, and she'd be like, no, let's book it. Like she'd be like ready to go. Yeah. She kind of keep me like on top of things. I love it. Like that's why I love her, bro. Cause like sometimes I could be a procrastinator with stuff, and she makes sure I'm on it. Like she be like, yo, let's do it. No, let's do it. You won't know what's going. And like we don't know our life expectancy, bro. Like any of us can go in 5 years. I want to live, like. So I'm gonna do everything I can to live the best life that I can live. You know what I'm saying? And that way, when I do get old, I can just chill. You know what I mean? And I can be like, yo, I did it all with my wife. That's what I'm supposed to do it with. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't rather do it with nobody else.
No, we want to think.
But we taking the kids next, though.
Listen. All right, bro. You blessed us with a lot, man.
I appreciate y'all for having me.
You gonna come back?
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
For sure. I would love to.
Whenever you got the secret sauce that you didn't let out on the show,
yeah,
talk about that next time.
I got you, bro. I told you I got some stuff in the works, so I'll come back. I'll talk about that.
We appreciate you.
We thank everybody for tuning in to More Than a Dad. Definitely got your real estate, daycare, your travel stuff this episode.
Yeah.
We want to thank you for doing the show, man. And until next time, guys.
Until next time, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Join the More Than a Dad family by following us on Instagram, subscribing to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to join our Facebook group for daily questions, motivation, dad jokes, and new dad tips. If you enjoy our podcast, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Be sure to like, comment, and share our content with other parents. Last but not least, make sure you check out our new merch. The link is in the bio of our Instagram as well as the description of this YouTube video. We are truly grateful, and thanks for supporting More Than a Dad.
More than a dad. More than a dad.